of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah.
Lex Friedman, he's a millennial, right? I'm just assuming, nothing against millennials. It's just there were parts of this interview that were really immature. Like one of them, and he's not the only podcaster that does this. There's a group of these people. It's your Jordan Petersons, Lex Friedman. There's several of them. You know them. And they all they all are on each other's podcasts. They all worship Joe Rogan. And I understand that Joe Rogan is a critical thinker, but he really is only a critical thinker selectively, so not all the time. And what they all seem to be stupid about is how, when you ask if something Lex Friedman asked in this clip was, will he release the Epstein list? Well, did you not realize, Lex Friedman, that Epstein came off the street under Trump's administration, under his watch? Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard Joe Rogan or any of those intelligent men ever mention that. Yeah, how Cindy McCain said that everybody, all the politicians, everybody knew about Epstein. It's just nobody would do anything about it because Epstein was tied to intelligence. So Trump went as far as wanting to do something about it, because over 10 years ago he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, and the attorney trying to go after Epstein said that Trump was the only one that would give him all the information he knew about him. So Trump went as far as to do something about it, that he went to the White House, became president and got the man off the street, then went on to write executive orders wanting to end human trafficking. So I don't know how Lex Friedman can't figure out that what's the next logical step, Lex, that he definitely would want to release the list. Most especially when many people, some in that group of you people, your little group you guys are in, have made comments in the past that Trump was on the island, and he said he was not. No, he said he was an insider for a reason. Again, this is something simple, a logical conclusion that yes, if you want somebody to take down this dark system, you need somebody that was an insider. His deeds showed he's trying to take it down. So those are simple things that when I see these people, these young millennials that have podcasts, and the algorithm wants them to get all these followers, because again, this group of people, they all seem to worship at the feet of Joe Rogan. And again, I have nothing against Joe Rogan. It's just for somebody that is such a critical thinker, he's only smart enough to be a critical thinker in a selective way, because it's the basic things I just mentioned, and there's other things too that they just don't seem to get to the logical conclusion of. Trump was an insider, so put it together. The other thing I find infuriating with Joe Rogan and all of these people is how they think that Trump needs to change. Well, Joe Rogan can stick it up his ass. What has he ever done for this country? I'm not trying, I'm just saying, it's like, so these are the logical people, again, okay? These are the critical thinkers that Lex Friedman, all these people, Joe Rogan, and he went on to tell Donald Trump, you need to clear up your tensions with Rogan after that post you made, something with RFK Jr. before RFK Jr. endorsed Trump, something that Joe Rogan said, and then Trump, tweeted out or posted on Truth something about, let's see how the kind of response that Rogan gets the next time he walks in the UFC. And so Lex Friedman took the time with a former president, current running president candidate, took the time to bring this up because Joe Rogan's his friend. Grow up, okay, Lex Friedman? Grow the fuck up. Seriously. Okay, Joe Rogan's down here. Donald Trump's up here. Not in far as worshiping, but he's done far more for the country. Just because your god Joe Rogan has this huge podcast doesn't mean he's done anything close to what Donald Trump has done for the country. So please, you people that want to judge Donald Trump, I don't think his tweets were mean enough. See, Joe Rogan thinks Trump needs to change. Lex Friedman, all of this group of people think that Trump needs to change. No, you people are so stupid. Like selectively stupid you decide to be sometimes. Like, I don't get it. That you don't see how the other side, what they did to him, the horrible, monstrous things they said to him and his family. He was not mean enough. Yet you people still continue to push this idea that, no, Trump was the mean person. And Trump even mentioned that in this interview. He's like, well, nobody ever wants to say how mean that side was. I don't think Trump's tweets were mean enough. I mean, I'm not advocating meanness. But these people that you think are so smart and telling you this truth seem to not be able to make logical conclusions. And the reason, why would that be? Well, that's why I have this hesitancy in trusting them. And there's a group of them. They circle the drains with each other. But Lex Friedman going so far in some of these questions to Trump, and I just thought, you're either immature, you worship Rogan too much, and there's a few of you that do, and you're taking the time when our country is falling apart to think that Donald Trump would be worried whatsoever or care what Rogan thinks. He made his post, and he had every right to do it. Rogan has said he doesn't want Trump on his podcast because Rogan thinks he's too much of an egomaniac. No, Rogan's the egomaniac. He just hides it better. He just hides it better. He doesn't want to give an ego. I mean, he was a liberal. Do you think that's really changed? I think he has so many followers because he's allowed to have them. He's meant to have them to direct you. I know he reveals much truth, but you pay attention because they're trying to drive you in a direction. And they certainly don't seem to be fair in their reasoning and logical thinking when it comes to Trump. Again, it was under Trump's watch that Epstein came off the street. Yeah. So absolutely ridiculous to think that Trump wouldn't release the names. He wanted him off the street. So I do not think that I do not think that Trump needs to go groveling to Joe Rogan to go on his podcast. Trump doesn't need Joe Rogan's podcast. He doesn't. He never has. But Lex Friedman wants Trump to, be fair to Joe. I think that Trump has far more important things that, with the country that he's worried about. If Lex Friedman wants to worry about Joe Rogan, then you go help Joe Rogan, okay? You people aren't doing anything for the country. You all have an agenda. And I'm not trying to be like, like I say that about everybody, right? But it's because you have to see, if somebody's a critical thinker, they should be able to critically think in all areas, most especially the simple logical conclusion areas. So it's a logical conclusion to realize Trump was an insider. Of course, you'd need an insider to take it down. It's logical to deduct that Trump would, of course, want the names released on the Epstein list because it was under his watch that Epstein was taken off the street and Trump was doing something about ending human trafficking. It's logical to realize that Trump wasn't an egomaniac. When he called people names, it wasn't even mean enough compared to what the other side was saying about him. And these people that say Trump's the egomaniac, they're really the egomaniacs. They're the ones that are and they're all the ones that haven't done anything close to what Donald Trump has done in his life or has done to help this country. So Lex Friedman, he's a young guy, so I'll give him a pass, but he needs to grow up. You interviewed a president, and some of those questions were absolutely ridiculous. Your defense of Joe Rogan. I mean, why should Trump waste his time on that bullshit? Joe Rogan is like a nobody on the scale when it comes to doing something for this country. Okay? He sits on a podcast, gets high, talks about, everybody taking psychedelics as if that's the only way to have a spiritual awakening. That's the lazy way to have a spiritual awakening, by the way. You don't need to do drugs. Think about that. It's ridiculously stupid. But haven't contributed to this country in any way.